Therefore, apparitions will dwell among the islands, and daughters of Sirens will dwell in her. They will by no means be inhabited any longer for the age. Jeremiah 27:39. Are there sirens and mermaids in the Bible? And if there are, what is hidden in Leviticus? If you read the Septuagint, there are 6 references to sirens in the Old Testament. But if you are reading English Bibles based on the Masoretic Text, then you will most likely see the word ostrich there. How did we get to this discrepancy? In order for us to understand the mindset of the Jewish scholars who translated the Septuagint, we have to look at the Hebrew word that is translated from Benot Ya'anah. The first word, Benot, is translated as daughters. This is why we see daughters of Sirens in some of the references. The second word, Ya'anah, is what gets translated to siren. But how does a word that can mean ostrich get translated to a singing, mythical, seductive demon? And wild animals will rest there, and the houses will be filled with echoes, and sirens will rest there, and divine beings will dance there. Isaiah 13:21, LS2. Looking at the context of Isaiah 13:21, we can see that the other creatures mentioned are spiritual in nature. The first entity mentioned is the Tziyim. These can be understood as apparitions or ghosts, and the final entity mentioned are the satyrs, a class of lustful, drunken woodland demons. All of these are spiritual beings, with sirens and satyrs being categorized as male and female sexual demons like succubi and incubi. But that doesn't answer how we get sirens from Ya'anah. In order to answer that, we need to look at the descendants of Cain in Genesis 4. His brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all those who play the lyre and pipe. Zillah also bore Tubal-Cain. He was the forger of all instruments of bronze and iron. The sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. Genesis 4:21-22 ESV. When looking at Aramaic Targums, this verse is expanded, describing Naamah as the creator of songs. So how does Na'amah get us any closer to Ya'anah, being translated as sirens? The answer is found in understanding that the Aramaic words for ostrich and Na'amah are homophones, a word that has the same pronunciation but different meanings. When the Jewish scholars translated the Septuagint into Greek, they understood the Aramaic context and understood that this was in reference to the beautiful singing daughters of Na'amah. So why are her daughters categorized with satyrs and ghosts? To look further, we need to understand that the Jews at the time had also read 1 Enoch. The book of 1 Enoch extrapolates on Genesis 6:1-4, describing the fall of the sons of God, and explains the origins of the Nephilim, or giants. Then they took for themselves women, each of them choosing a woman for themselves. They began to go to them and defile them, and they taught them sorcery and enchantments and cutting of roots, and explained herbs to them. But those who became pregnant brought forth great giants. Enoch 7:1-2, LES 2. In exchange for these women, the Watchers gave knowledge to the men. The most apparent example is with Tubal-Cain and Azazel. Azazel taught the humans to make swords, weapons, shields, and breastplates, the lessons of the angels, and they showed them their mining and craftsmanship, anklets and adornment, powders and painted eyes, and all kinds of choice stones and dyeing. Enoch 8:1. Na'amah was one of the first women to be given to the Watchers, but more than being given, it seems that she might have been attempting to seduce the sons of God with her beauty and her songs. Eventually, through Enoch, God pronounces his judgment on the Watchers and those who mingled with them. Then Uriel said to me, "Here the angels who are mixing with the women shall stand, and their spirits, becoming multiform, shall treat the humans with indignity, and they will lead them astray to burn incense to the demons until the great judgment in which they will be judged so as to bring about perfection. And their women whom angels led astray will be as sirens." 1 Enoch 19:1-2. The intermingling of the Watchers with the humans resulted in a defiling of both spirits, causing some of them to become Polyform Spirits. You can understand how damning this is for humans that took part in this dark sex ritual. Their spirit would be merged with the eternally damned Watchers, who then proceeded to merge with other human spirits or even animal spirits, creating hideous monstrosities like the demon Asmodeus. These polymorphic spirits are also mentioned in the next verse of Isaiah, where we see donkey centaurs. These sirens are the mothers of the giants and other evil spirits. After the Watchers were bound in Tartarus, the Lord refers to the spirits of the Nephilim as bastard, not orphan spirits, saying, "And the Lord said to Gabriel, Go against the bastards, against the base ones, and the sons of fornication, and destroy the sons of the watchmen among the humans. Send them into the battle of destruction. For they do not have length of days." Enoch 10:9. This distinction between bastard and orphan is important as we look at the application of the Sirens' continued existence throughout the Old Testament. "And thorny trees will grow again in their cities and in its fortresses, and it will be a dwelling for sirens and a courtyard of sparrows. And ghosts will meet on the islands of the dead, and the satyrs will cry out to each other. There Lilith has found a place to rest." Isaiah 34, verse 13-14. Looking back at Isaiah 13:21, "And ghosts will rest there, filling their houses with howling echoes, and sirens will be enthroned there, and the satyrs will dance. The widows will sing on their islands of the dead, and the dragons will pleasure themselves in the temple. Its time is close at hand, and it will not delay." Sirens like Babylon, Lilith, and Na'amah are the queen mothers enthroned in the underworld, seducing the world into sexual promiscuity, aiming to build a perverse sexual revolution. The kingdom of heaven is at hand, for this pride has already entered our temples in an attempt to strengthen that great mystery Babylon with the blood of saints. If we understand that Ya'anah can also mean sirens when we look at the commandments in the Torah, they carry a different weight. For example, Deuteronomy 14 could be interpreted as prohibiting interactions with sirens and other unclean spirits. Similarly, Leviticus 11 we read, "And they will be an abomination for you. You shall not eat from their flesh, and you will consider their carcasses an abomination. And whatever does not have fins and scales on them, of those things in the water, this is an abomination to you." Leviticus 11:11-12. In Revelation, John hints at the spiritual nature of the sea. "And the sea gave up the dead who were in it. Death and Hades gave up the dead who were in them, and they were judged, each one of them, according to what they had done." Revelation 20, verse 13. The sea is portrayed as a spiritual dwelling place for those separated from God, with the sirens as the matriarchs of this kingdom. These queen sirens command their children, the unclean spirits mentioned in the New Testament. In Matthew 8, Jesus casts unclean spirits out of a man into a nearby herd of pigs, which then run back to their mothers in the sea. Na'amah and the sirens are the sexual antithesis of Mary, the Virgin Mother of Christ. As Christians, we have authority over these unclean spirits. There is no need to fear them, but it is good to be aware that they exist. If you are having recurring, unprompted sexual thoughts, know that they might not be coming from you, but you have power over them through Christ and the Holy Spirit. Like and subscribe, and let me know if you think our current translations should include sirens.